The second question? On the question number 3, there's
Right. Nick Gallagher. I have an intellectual understanding of how consciousness is the ever-present, unchanging reality. And it's because of this that we are able to experience the changing nature of outside phenomena as they present themselves within awareness. The analogy of deep sleep and dreaming is often used. My experience of deep sleep is not that of an unchanging awareness. I seem to disappear in deep sleep. When I wake up, I realize I am still alive, but I have been sleeping when I have thoughts and look at the clock, seeing that time has passed. I don't feel aware during periods of deep sleep. Therefore, it seems to me that awareness is much more reliant upon my physical brain than Vedanta claims it to be. My real-world experience is that when my brain is not turned on in deep sleep, I am unaware. What proof do I have that I am aware of nothing, as I have heard you say before, if I have no recollection or experience of this nothingness? And there's one other question.
Okay.
From Sokin Sarkar. If deep sleep is the experience of absence, then what is death?
All right. So this is a probing question on the Vedanta position on deep sleep. In deep sleep, so here we are aware there are objects, jada, and we are aware of it. Suppose all objects were taken away. There is an absence of objects. I don't see, hear, smell, taste, touch. I don't think, I don't remember, I don't feel, I don't desire, I don't hate, I don't understand, I don't remember, I don't forget. None of them, all of them are shut down. Am I the awareness gone? Or am I there but there is no object for awareness? So here, right in front of me, right here, there is a lot of light. You can't see, it just seems blank. But now see, doesn't it shine? Golden? If I remove it, is it shining here? No, right in between. Nothing. But if I put it there, it shines. You're not seeing my hand. You say, but you're showing your hand. I'm showing the light reflected from my hand. If I remove it, the light is right there, but you don't see it at all. You need an object to reflect light. On that analogy, what I'm saying is, what Vedanta says is, you are prakasha, you are awareness. But in deep sleep, because the senses are shut down, because the mind is shut down, there's nothing to be aware of. There's this blankness. Now, the problem here is, our idea of awareness is so connected with the mind. When the mind shuts down, we feel, I am not there. This has to be understood in depth. Otherwise, we will say that deep sleep means nothing, coma means nothing, general anesthesia means nothing. I was speaking with one of the leading neuroscientists in the world today, Dr. Anil Seth, just the other day. He is the head of the neuroscience department in the University of Sussex. And a very, very nice conversation, very nice conversation. One of the arguments he used, and any neuroscientist these days, most neuroscientists will use, is that in deep sleep, in general anesthesia, you are not there. Consciousness disappears, the self disappears. You're just not there. We can knock out all consciousness. By the way, when he used the language when the brain is turned off in deep sleep. Brain is not turned off in deep sleep. And Dr. Anil Seth also said, every neuroscientist knows this. Plenty of activity goes on in the brain. Generally, turning off would mean death. But even neuronal activity, plenty of neuronal activity goes on in deep sleep. Much less so maybe in coma, different kinds of coma. So brain is not turned off. That's also an interesting argument. If consciousness is a product of brain activity, there's plenty of brain activity in deep sleep. There is also brain activity in general anesthesia. Plenty of it. All right, that's coming from the physical side. From the inner side, what we will say? We will say that what general anesthesia does, what deep sleep does, what some forms of coma will do, only some forms. Other forms of coma, the person is fully aware inside. People don't know. Sometimes, horribly, people are aware under general anesthesia. including operation. They just can't say anything. They're being cut and pierced, and but they can't say anything because all the motor organs are frozen. But you're aware inside. So, but even assuming that all objects of awareness are gone, that's what general anesthesia does. It does not knock you out. It knocks out every jada padartha, every object of awareness. There is no pain or pleasure. There are no perceptions, no memories, no ideas. Why this is a difficult thing for modern consciousness studies people to understand is because they do not distinguish between consciousness and mind. Certainly the mind is switched off in deep sleep. Certainly the mind is switched off in general anesthesia. By the way, another thing, brain and consciousness. You know, you can cut into the brain and be fully conscious at the same time, and you won't feel anything because there are no nerves endings in the brain. So many, I heard, it sounds gruesome, but many brain operations are done when you are fully conscious, and you won't feel anything at all. In fact, the neuroscientist wants you, the surgeon wants you to be conscious during brain operation, so that if you cut something, did you lose the power to speak? Did you suddenly become blind? Did you do this? They'll be aware that you're not removing something very essential. Huh? So, this is the crucial answer. Why we feel, he writes, I feel I don't exist during deep sleep. I don't feel that I was aware of nothing in deep sleep because two reasons. One reason is what you think of as awareness or consciousness is the mind. That was not there in deep sleep. That was definitely switched off or in a hibernating state. And that's why you felt I was not there. If one does the Drigdrishya Vivek or the Panchakosha Vivek or Avasthatraya Vivek, any of these Vedantic procedures thoroughly, then one will begin to get an appreciation of what is meant by consciousness apart from mind. Consciousness in itself apart from objects. Then at least the intellectual possibility that in deep sleep I am still there. Even if you feel. You see, when you say, I felt I was not there in deep sleep, who says that? Mind. The moment the mind wakes up, it says, I was not there. Of course you are not there. You are not there. But that doesn't mean I was not there. I, the witness of the mind. I am witness of the absence of the mind. I am witness of presence of the mind. The absence of the mind was also witnessed by me. I was there. The mind says, I did not know anything there. But if the mind was switched off, what is it that did not know anything there? Things like this. So our way of thinking is, I woke up and I saw time has passed, so I must have slept. I was in deep sleep. We don't do that. Even the person who wrote it doesn't do that. You might see the clock and say, oh, I slept for an hour. I slept for 2 hours. I fell asleep. But just to the intuition of having fallen asleep, we don't need to look at the clock. You have a clear feeling that there was a moment of gap in between. Even the most inadvertent sleep, you felt I slept off. And then I'm awake now. What notice that sleeping? You see, if there was no experience of deep sleep, we would not even talk about it. Every civilization, every culture in the world has words for deep sleep, has descriptions of the experience of deep sleep. It's an experience. If it is an experience, then consciousness must be there. Deep sleep is a good way of distinguishing consciousness from mind. If you think there is nothing in deep sleep, you're talking about the mind. If you understand that I am there as bare awareness in deep sleep, as a something in deep sleep, that much you are aware, that much you can at least say, then you are aware of the distinction between yourself and the mind. Another reason why deep sleep seems so mysterious and nothing, because our idea of something isn't something, object, jada. If all jada is removed, then nothing. So there was nothing. Even that experience of nothing, it's an experience. It's not an absence of experience, it's an experience of absence. it will not be resolved so easily, because our testimony seems to run, our experience seems to run contrary to the claims of Vedanta. Vedanta says our experience seems to run, my experience seems to tell me there was nothing in deep sleep. Vedanta says you have to think a little more clearly. In waking, not in deep sleep. You have to think about deep sleep a little more clearly. And keep thinking about it. You will begin to see it is also a kind of experience, an experience of absence. Waking and dreaming are experience of presence. Gross objects present, waking. Subtle objects present, dreaming. No object present, deep sleep. The blankness itself can be considered an object. Some schools of Vedanta, Panchadashi considers the blankness itself to be an object. Avabuddham tada tamaha. In deep sleep you experienced. Oh, what did I experience? An object. Oh, what object was there in deep sleep? Tamaha, darkness. Tama bodho bhavet smritihi. Panchadashi says that the experience of blankness in deep sleep is like a memory when I wake up. When I wake up, there's a memory, quote unquote memory. Memory requires a mind, but mind was sleeping there, so it can't be technically memory. But something was experienced, and a trace of it was left in Ajnana itself, in the Anandamaya Kosha, in the Karana Sharira, which the mind grasps and says, there was a phase after dreaming, there was a complete blankness. That is deep sleep. And that's an experience. The consciousness was there. And if you cannot accept consciousness in deep sleep, then you are unable to distinguish between mind and consciousness. You are still stuck on mind. What is the difference between deep sleep and death? In death, one might be fully conscious. Near-death experiences show that one might be conscious when there is physical, biological death. In death, it might be like a dream. Experiences might be there. Death might be like deep sleep. And then we awaken from deep sleep, and then you are in heaven or the other place. Other experiences will come. So those are also experiences. So death is might be like deep sleep for a while, but might be like dream also for a while, post-death.